I'm Johan Roshibiega here in our sound room in Holyoke Media at Court Plaza in Holyoke, Massachusetts, and I want to welcome Betel Arnold, who is going to be offering for us here in our studios a reading of your most recent performance, your play, Tight Pants. So, Betel, thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here to talk about my play Tight Pants. It's actually not my most recent work. It was actually my first work. Tight Pants, Pantalones Apretados. It's actually my first work. The last work that I did was called The Building, and we just had a reading of that. So this play, Tight Pants, actually it was actually produced by the Majestic Theater. So the Silverthorne Theater is taking the play, and I'm reworking some things. So we're having a reading of that, of that play again.
Without spoiling the whole plot, but what Tight Pants addresses, because in your work you definitely talk a lot about your identity and some of the issues that represent the situation of communities and cultural background, particularly talking about how tight pants are part of that idiosyncrasy.
Well, Tight Pants is really it's based on my mother's story. It's an immigrant tale, an immigrant story about how my mother came to the United States. But it's really complex because the characters are very complex. And it's about these two women and their friendship, their relationship, and how their bond is so powerful that it has the ability to change their lives. And I base that play on my mother's story because I'm from the Dominican Republic, and I came to the United States when I was 7. I came to Brooklyn, New York. But I have a lot of relatives in the Dominican Republic, so I would go visit often. And I have a lot of relatives there, a lot of women, and they are a very colorful bunch. Very, they don't hold back. They tell you exactly what they think. And I've never been much of a fashion play. My mother is, and my sister. They're always look, I don't know, they always look good to me. And I've always been a little bit more relaxed in how I dressed and so on and so forth. And my aunts would say to me, or my aunts and my aunt's friends would continuously say to me, put on your tight pants. Why are you dressed like that? Pantalones apretados. And I would be so irritated by that. I would be really annoyed because I'm thinking, why do you want me to wear tight pants, And I started really thinking about that. I started thinking about that and why they said that. And then I started recalling or, continuously hearing my mother's stories about, survival and how some of the things that, your appearance and how they looked was so important for them to survive and to get ahead in life because, their salvation was getting married, because there weren't jobs for women. And, the only way that they could survive or put food on the table was if there was a male that was working and would be able to support them. So their appearance was, crucial to having, a husband. And so I started thinking about that. And, what that meant to my family, to my mother, and listening to her and my aunt. And that's how I started writing that play, Tight Pants, based on that story of my mother, and coming to the United States. And her friend, who was a friend and a neighbor, and how their friendship was so crucial in my mother making a decision that would drastically change her life and our lives, me and my sisters.
So being able to present Tight Pants in an area where we know we have that culture so present with people from Puerto Rico, people from the Dominican Republic, and people from the whole Caribbean area that somehow connect with these stories of migrating in the United States and having these situations happening culturally in their lives, and even how that today reflects on what is passed on generation to generation about the way women should look like or should dress. How do you see that reflected today?
You know, things are changing. They've changed a lot, and we've become more aware. And women have made women have come such a long way. So I say it's different now, although we still have a way to go, because I think that, a lot of, I think sometimes, young people or anybody can find their identity in how they look and how they dressed and what they think is important, because growing up, what your parents say or people who are adults that you respect, it makes a huge impact on what women think and what girls think, and so I feel as though we have to be careful about what we're communicating, what we're saying. I understand it. Back then when my mom was, women couldn't find jobs and, they couldn't survive and the only way out was to get married. I understood that, I really, really did, because there was nothing else that they could do. Not everybody had the same, situation, but the majority of them did. But I think it's important now to, tell a different story. And that is about, the value that we find within ourselves, that it's not in our appearance or in what we wear, but that there are other opportunities that we seek and that may be available to us. And I think this story, Tight Pants, there's so much in there, because as individuals, everybody is so complex. And you'll see that in the reading, because you have, Camila, who is the protagonist, the mother, and then you have El Flaco, who is the father figure, the father, right? And so they take these same opportunities that they have, right, and go in two totally separate, different directions, So I could be given an opportunity, and another person could be given the same opportunity, and the two people can do so many different things with their lives. And you see that in Tight Pants. You see how the same people had the same opportunities, but they made two totally different, their path was completely different based on their actions and their decisions. And the story is so meaningful to me, because sometimes we make decisions that we might not be 100% like, this is really what I want to do. But then when you have young children, as my mother did, and you see in this story, the sacrifice that this mother made, so that she was seeing the same thing being produced in her children, in her daughters, and saying, wait, no, that's not the story that I want my daughters to be living. So she makes a really gut-wrenching decision that it's not what she wanted, but what she knew was the right thing to do. Was it not for her friend and neighbor, her best friend, who said, look, you need to do this. You need to do this. Who knows what would have become of her, Camila, my mother, or her daughters, myself and my sisters. So it's really gripping to me. And even now when I saw it produced at the Majestic, and now that, I'm looking at the reading again, picking up the material, I'm looking at it, and it's like every time that I pick it up, I'm like, you see how individuals, how people, how we make decisions, and the opportunities that are there for us, and the how it can go this way or that way, and I think that every decision we make is so important, because it can lead us to the right path or the wrong path,
Definitely something that could be a life lesson for many incoming people
Yeah.
settling down here in the United States, for younger audiences who are beginning to realize and understand all these behaviors and these cultural, customary things that they have a meaning, but then you find out they have a deeper meaning, and you can actually make a decision about, do I want to keep it, or can I change it, or can I own it in a different way?
Yeah.
I think that's a really powerful way to advocate for people to look deeper into things that we think are just as simple as just putting on a pair of tight pants.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think sometimes we might not have the wisdom, the tools. We don't have the whole picture, but someone else. And I think that this is so beautiful to see someone else like Griselda, the best friend and the neighbor, who was able to see something that Camila was not able to see. That she was so caught up in her life that she wasn't able to see clearly. And it is exactly what you say, because you might have somebody who finds themselves in a situation that they just don't know what to do or what direction to go in, or feeling like stuck. But if you have people around them that care about them, that love them, that support them, that can see a greater picture, it's like it can be life-changing. And because when you have good people in your life and people that love you, they can give you just one advice that you could see something totally different and go in a totally different direction. And I think it's so important for young people, to have mentors or teachers or neighbors or somebody that sees them and can say, hey, look, you might be finding yourself in this situation, but here's an opportunity that I can present to you, or something that I saw here that might be a opportunity for you, or a different direction that you might be able to go in. And I think that we can never underestimate how that can make an impact in somebody else's life. And I've seen that over and over and over again. And I think this story, Tight Pants, just really depicts that really well, because everybody in that script, in that play, all these characters, Mateo, Camila, Humberto, they're all making decisions all along the way, and you can see that clearly, that there's choices, and how some of them, it might take them, a lot longer to get to that place of making the right decision. And then others just don't make the right decision, and there are always consequences for the decisions we make,
So Tight Pants is going to be featured in a reading session on February 29th.
Yes, I'm so excited to see what the director, Pedro, to see what he does. I'm really excited. He's really talented. And Silverthorne Theater, I'm really grateful to them to, bringing the story back and, seeing it with, a talented cast. I'm really excited, to see it again and just continue to, dig deeper. Like you said, you're always, you see something, but then you see it again and you see it with fresh eyes. And it's like, wow, yeah, something that was not, you didn't see the first time. You come around and it's like, okay, I see it from a different perspective now.
So what will be your message for the public to come and join for enjoying of this reading of Tight Pants?
What is my message to them? To come. Please come and support the work. And I really, honestly, not because it's just my work, but I think it's really a good story based on, true events. And I think there's a lot there that you can really dig deep and almost see yourself somewhere in that story. You'll see yourself, and maybe you'll just come and be entertained by it, but maybe you yourself might find a different message, or somebody else might find a different message. But I think overall, it's gonna, I think, I'm hoping, that I'm believing that, people will come and enjoy it.
Perfect. Well, Betel, thank you so much for this time to talk about tight pants, and looking forward to enjoying all the performance on the 29th.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.